Hey, what's up, guys? Larry D. Williams II here. Today, I want to talk to you about, of course, you guys know it's the reason why I switched back to Blackmagic from Zcam, but it's going to be a little bit more deeper than that. So go ahead and like, subscribe, hit the bell, so that way you can get all the new videos as I put them out. And yeah, so okay. But today we're talking about the reason why I switched to Blackmagic from Zcam. So let's get into the nuts and bolts of this. For the most part, this is really a vlog about you not having the newest, shiniest thing. It's not important for you to have every single thing that you potentially want, right? You think you want the Ursa Mini 4.6K G2. You also think you want the Arri Alexa Mini. You also think you want the Red Epic 8K, whatever, right? And the thing is, though, you don't need it. You think you need it, but you don't need it. So why am I talking about this? Because I was that type of person when I first graduated from film school. I figured if I bought a Red, if I bought the 4.6K, if I have the best thing, that I will get work. And that's not necessarily true. Hardly ever, actually. A lot of times, though, when you do have Reds, a lot of independent artists, a lot of independent directors and producers will be like, oh, well, he's got money. He's invested into himself. That's another thing. But at the same time, there's also the thing is, you just because you own a Red or own an Arri doesn't mean you're any good at what you do. Roger Deakins can kill anybody with an iPhone that has an Arri Alexa Red or Arri Alexa Mini or Arri Alexa Classic or even a Red Monstro 8K, because he knows what he's doing. He knows how to light. He just knows what he's doing. It's technique and this experience and knowledge over having the camera. The camera is a tool. So I started out with the T2i, and then I also bought the XH-A1, which is a camcorder. Then I bought the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera. Then I bought the Blackmagic Production Camera 4K. Then I bought the Micro Cinema Camera. Then I bought another pocket camera. Then I sold all of that and bought the Ursa Mini 4.6K. Then I sold that and bought the Zcam E2. And then I sold that and bought the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera, which is where I'm sitting now. So why did I do all that? Because I wanted the newest thing. And if I had certain options that most cameras didn't have, for instance, the E2 had 120 frames per second, but also could still shoot RAW, so they said. And I was like, well, I can still shoot my stuff and also shoot people's stuff in slow motion. You know, get a lot of people, oh, 120 frames per second, it looks amazing at 4K, blah, blah, blah. So that was really one of the reasons why I went with the Zcam E2. Another reason why was the form factor. It looked like a mini Red. Straight up, it looked like a mini Red. I fell for this company as well because I was upset with Blackmagic because I had purchased the Ursa Mini 4.6K. 6 months later, the Pro came out, and then like 6 months after that, the Blackmagic RAW was dropped, and it was not put in the Ursa Mini 4.6K, which was not even 2 years old. So basically, it made it obsolete without even being 2 years old. So I was upset. I'm a gearhead, right? That's what I like is gear, and that's what I want is the best gear, right? And that's the problem, right? Because there was people that were still putting out stuff on the 7D and the T2i that looked better than a lot of the stuff that I had seen put out on the Ursa Mini 4.6K. That being said, I decided to go with the Zcam. But what I started noticing was I wasn't happy with the Zcam. I didn't like the color science. I didn't like how they did things. Like, for instance, there was two reasons why I decided to go back to Blackmagic. One was the Z-RAW, right? So they said they preached that they were coming out with a RAW and this, that, and the other, and I loved the fact that they were doing that, right? But the thing is, though, I bought the camera, and then like 3 months later, they finally came out with the RAW. And the thing is, though, it was already out and shipped to people before I got it. So it was like probably 6 or 8 months before the RAW even came out. Hold on one second. Excuse me. All right. And number two, there's no problem units, right? There's never any issues with the unit. It's always a user error whenever they have an issue. Now let's get back to the first part, right? Z-RAW. Z-RAW is important because I shoot everything in RAW. For me, RAW is the most important thing. It's easier. It makes me shoot faster because I don't have to 100% dial in exactly what I want, because I can fix things later, you know what I mean? As long as my colors and my lights and all that type of stuff is perfectly fine, I can spend more time doing that than worrying about my camera settings, as long as I know if I have to be based off the dual native ISO, do I need to be in the higher or the lower ISO range? And so it made things a lot easier for me, right? And made things a lot faster. But then being able to shoot that raw was great for the Zcam E2, right? But then you turn around and there's no native support in anything, right? So now it becomes, I'm shooting this film in raw, and I have to now put it through a converter to now edit the footage, which means now if I put it through a converter, now I have the baked into like a ProRes or DNX HD or whatever file it is. So it kind of eliminates the whole process of having raw. So I asked them, hey, are you gonna do native support for Blackmagic? And because that's what I edited in, right? They just said, no, we're not doing that. Why? Because Blackmagic said no. I contacted Blackmagic. I said, hey, are you guys not going to take Z-Raw? And they're like, well, Z-Raw, nobody's ever talked to us about Z-Raw. We would take Z-Raw easily. They're like, why would we not take Z-Raw? If we took Z-Raw, we could put it in our DaVinci Resolve and sell more copies of DaVinci Resolve. At the end of the day, it's about selling more copies, right? Then I asked them, okay, if you're not going to do that, are you going to output RAW via HDMI that can be recorded into the new Video Assist that records B-RAW? And they said, no, we're not doing that. We're working with Adam Shogun to do a ProRes RAW, which is fine because ProRes RAW goes directly into Final Cut Pro, which is great. And I think ProRes RAW can go into DaVinci Resolve. Don't quote me, but as of before, it couldn't. Now, this is not a problem. At this point, it's not a problem for me. You know what I mean? Because right now I'm not shooting anything besides like weddings and stuff like that, which at weddings you shoot 140, 150 frames per second, right? It's fine. And it's great. That's what I do. And you can't shoot it in RAW yet. So I decided to keep looking and paying attention to what's going on. I'm still upset about the way that there's no problem units. It's always a user error. And then I'm also upset with the way they half-assed Z-Raw. And they half-assed the support for it. And it just drove me insane. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to step away from this company. And I'm going to go ahead and go to Blackmagic. Best decision ever. So I started to step back from this company, and I realized that I really, really love Blackmagic. I love the color science. I love their B-Raw. And the thing was, Cinema DNG is nice, but B-Raw is so amazing to use because B-Raw is actually it's created by Blackmagic, so it goes into Resolve so well, and it works so well with Blackmagic DaVinci Resolve. So I've been thinking about it, right? And it's like, well, I need another camera as a main camera, right? My pocket camera can't do everything, absolutely everything I need it to do. And I was like, well, let me go ahead and look at some cameras. So right now there are some Mini Pro, the pocket cameras are the only, and the new Video Assist is the only thing that has Z-Raw in it. Now that being said, NAB's coming up in a couple months. I'm going to it, and I'm hoping, I am praying that they announce. Now I heard rumors that they're gonna do a 8K version of the Ursa Mini, and I would love for, even if it's just a 6K version of the Ursa Mini, I would love for that to happen. Because what's gonna end up happening is if they do another Ursa Mini, that's gonna drop the price of the original Ursa Mini Pro, which shoots B-Raw. And for me, B-Raw is what's important, right? I don't really care to have 8K and 6K. B-Raw is what's important to me. Because if I'm gonna start shooting films, the best thing for me to do is shoot films, have the same exact codec, and send it to an editor or a colorist, and they don't have to worry about, oh, well, now I gotta do a conversion for CDNG or Apple ProRes RAW as well as B-Raw, right? That being said, that's the reason why I really want another Blackmagic, but I want a Blackmagic Ursa Mini Pro. Not for all the extra bells and whistles. If the 4.6K shot B-Raw, I would keep the I would have kept the 4.6K. So, yeah, just pay attention. You don't need the newest things. Arri Alexa Classics are still amazing cameras. They only shoot 2K, but if you look at that 2K, it is so sharp and it's so nice and it looks amazing. I would say it looks better than most Blackmagic cameras too. But I'm a Blackmagic fan, not because of the resolution, because I don't even own the 6K yet, and I probably won't own the 6K until I buy the Pro, because they use the same lens mount. But other than that, probably no. I mean, resolution is nice, but then you got the super scale function in DaVinci Resolve, which is even nicer. So that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell like I said before, and pay attention to what you're doing. Learn the cinematic language, all that type of stuff. That's better than trying to buy the best camera, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what camera you have. If you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're doing. Peace.